Yep. Hello, guys. Welcome. Hold on. Trying to pull up security boss. There she is.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, guys. Welcome to another marriage talk, part 2, with the one and only security boss. And I'm so excited for everyone to be here. You could be literally anywhere else on a Friday night. It is Friday, right? Yes. Security boss, pregnancy brain is, I was talking to you earlier about this. Pregnancy brain is real. And sometimes I forget dates. Sometimes I forget what time it is. It's a new thing for me. But thank you guys for being here. I'm going to shout out some of the people that are in the chat. Hey, Guru, ready for this heat? Well, yes, security boss always brings the heat. And congratulations on getting your channel monetized. That's for you, security boss.
Thanks, Celine.
Celine says, Tommy says, let's get it. I know. And we have Jane and Chantel. Heyo. Hi. How's everyone? We got Condemned ya. Hello. Hey, Shane. How are you? Scott. Thank you. And yes, guys, please, if you're coming in, please hit the like button, subscribe. Security boss, go like her channel. Don't leave the stream just yet, but go like her channel, subscribe, and it takes 2 seconds to give us a like here, and it's free. And it's absolutely free.
Free.
Hi, Jenny. How are you? So happy to be here. So, security boss,
yes, ma'am.
Let's start off, because here's the thing. Some people caught the first part 1 of this conversation, but a lot of people didn't. So please give us just a little bit of background about you and what your channel is about. And yeah, let's start off with that.
Okay. Well, I am security boss, unsolicited. I've been married 26 years. I consider myself a successfully happy married woman. My channel is mostly all about being married or relationships, or, maybe even the dating game, getting to that point. My goal is to get everybody married. And that's my goal, is to get everybody married so we can live happily, have good children, well balanced. I want the fathers in the homes. I want the mothers in the home, if possible. I want everybody to be happy and good parents and just have this nuclear family that we are missing.
I love that. That is exactly what I preach here on my channel. I know there's a lot of things happening out in YouTube land and in a lot of these spaces, but I love that you're such a pro. You're an advocate for marriage, and I'm an advocate for marriage. I always say I wish everyone can get married. I know that it's not the reality, but I want and desire for so many people to get married here. So we got Scott says, I'm a happily married man. Congratulations, Scott.
Listen, you have one. So does she know anything about happily married men? I advocate for men.
Oh, yes.
If I don't know, I am willing to learn, because I know that is where we need to be.
Yes.
We need to invest in our leaders. So
yes, absolutely. And remember to like and subscribe as you're coming in. But I wanted to, first of all, we're going to do some housekeeping. We are only going to be here for up to 2 hours. We're not going to open up the call today just because I'm 9 months pregnant. Security boss has other engagements as well. She's a busy woman. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat. We'll be happy to highlight some of those questions. If you have any questions for Security Boss, we want to make this open, transparent conversations. This is not an interview. We're not going to grill each other. And I love your energy. I love what you bring here. So thank you again for being here. So yeah, guys, just keep that in mind. Send us your questions. We'd happy to answer them. So let's start, because I didn't get to this question on the last interview, and it was literally like the premise of our entire video.
Okay.
Because we spoke about a lot of things.
Right.
But Security Boss, what do you think is the formula for a happy, healthy, successful marriage in your 26 years of experience?
Okay. I'm going to go to the beginning. I think before people even get married, even when choosing a husband or a wife, you have to have two people who are kind. Kind people is a must. You cannot marry a person that is mean-spirited. It just won't work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the first thing. They must be kind to each other and to the world. Okay. The second thing is they must daily work at being or becoming one.
Mm.
A sacrificial thing. I need to know who my husband is. I need to learn who he is. I need to learn what makes him happy, what may make him sad. I need to hear about the way he grew up, the way things impress on him. He needs to learn me. And that needs to be a woman's daily goal into being married. This is me, successfully married, because I have to be the person who adjusts, and women typically adjust. I flow with my husband. I couldn't do well with yours, but I can do very well with mine, because that's what women are supposed to do. Him, the husband, needs to be focusing on loving me. Needs to all my little quirks and, just coming together as one. And that needs to be a daily, I hate to say daily job, but it needs to be a daily something that we do. And on top of that, I do think women just need to, I hate to say this, but know their position. Know their position, play their position to be, to manage and have the most comfortable environment for the husband and for the family, if you have one.
Mm.
So first thing, kind to each other. Second thing, women, we have to learn how to adjust to the man that we marry, because we're becoming one daily. These are must. Once you do that, then all those other I shouldn't say emotions, but all those other things come in play as far as the empathy for the husbands, the compassion for the wife. All those other things come into place when you're learning each other. Those things are a must. We must communicate. Must
Absolutely.
communicate. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get all this right at the front door. But these are things that are required for a successful marriage. And I think that was the question that you had. What is
Yes.
required for one? We're not going to get it all right, but communication is definitely a requirement. It is a requirement for a woman to be submissive to her husband, or we should call it maybe adjusting to who he is, releasing to his will. I think that's a must. We don't want to bump heads. That doesn't mean that a woman can't give suggestions or ask questions. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that she needs to know that her husband has her back.
Absolutely.
For me, I think for successful marriage, also you have to have trust. It has to be some trust. Has to be some trust.
Talk about that.
Trust. Okay, well, without trust, you probably won't have the submission, because a woman has to have security. We have to feel like no matter what, our husband has our back and he's not going anywhere, no matter what. So that lends into the trust. Men, you have to give that. You have to, how can I say this? You have to be, what do you call it? Repetitious almost. You have to be constantly doing these things to bring to secure that trust. You can't be, you have to be consistent. That's the word I'm looking for. On a male side, you have to be very consistent in order for the wife to actually trust you. And you have to be consistent in most things. I even think you have to be consistent with going to work and coming home. Go to work and come home. Because remember, you're two single people. Now you're getting together. You're married. Sometimes you may not know that it spills over into every aspect of your doings, but it actually does. So even the consistency in coming straight home from work gives that woman a little bit more, what do you call it? A little bit more
peace,
space to trust you. Oh, I know. I probably know where he is now. He's on I-85 on his way out, that kind of stuff. She needs to know that. So where am I? I said trust. Okay. Respect is a gift.
You said communication.
Communication. I think they need to be kind to each other. I think kindness is the most. I mean, because what you're actually ultimately trying to achieve is that, the way I say it is, me being one with my husband, I'm not going to hurt myself. So if I can achieve that, then we're good. But on top of that, I need to be able to trust him. I need to be able to communicate with him. And what have I missed? I just think all those other things come with that. Trust, the submission, the trust, the kindness, the submission, the trust, and the love. That's success.
I love it. You know what's interesting? Because what I see a lot of married people. Okay, I see a lot of married couples. But I often see a lot of resentment in marriage. And especially from women, for some reason, it's like making food, or the tone. It's the tone that I have that I look at some of these women. I'm like, you're doing all of these things and you're being traditional and you're being submissive, but the tone is off. You're saying, oh, I'm going to make your plate, and like it's on the table, like sit down. Like, what is wrong? What do you think is happening there? Do you have
Yeah, I know exactly what's happening there. That person, that woman, that wife has not accepted the role of a wife. They're doing the chore or the duties of a wife, but mentally or socially, they have not fallen into that role of a wife. They have not submitted to it. And I'm going to go back to that. They probably are not totally sold on the commitment they made to God the Father when they took the vows to be married. That's probably like what they're struggling with, because it seems like when we're talking about it, women are giving up so much. But we are definitely the adaptable ones. So we need to be adaptable to our husbands, but we push back on that because we don't want to lose our own identities. It's what we think we're doing.
Exactly. And society says, oh, well, you have your own identity. You are this like boss babe, independent woman. Why are you catering to your man? Why are
Right.
you doing these things? And I sit there and I'm like, because that's my role as a wife. I, I ask my husband, I, I ask him, hey, like, is it okay if I go meet up with blah, blah, blah? Like, someone invited me. I ask my husband, it's not necessarily permission, but it's out of respect. Like, hey, I wanted to let you know, like, can I bounce this off of you? Like, I want to go to get coffee with a friend. She's in town, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, go ahead, and it's like, there's women today that are like, why do you have to ask your husband for permission to go get coffee with one of your girlfriends? And it's like, I tell people, I'm like, it's not about asking for permission. It's the fact that I respect my husband enough to where I say, hey, I want to include you in this conversation that I'm having. And he does the same thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, how is this not mutual?
So I hope those ladies that you're speaking about are not really in your life.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Okay, so this episode you need to remove them. The other thing, boss babes are not married babes.
Yes.
You're talking about single women. You're talking about a single woman's mindset. You check in with your husband, first of all, to make sure he knows where you are, to make sure he knows that if something goes wrong, he can find you. Also, to make sure he didn't have his own plans for you for that particular day, or just, you know what, it could be an environment that you've never been to that he has been to, and you're running it by him. He could say, you know what, babe, I don't think that environment is good for you because you're going through this side of town, or what
Mm-hmm.
have you, anything, because he is your covering, he is your protection. So you check in with him because you allow him to do that. No.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to that consistency thing that I talked about. I'm on a consistent path, and I did it unconsciously, but I promise you, I'm on a consistent path. And if my husband needed to find me at a certain time of the day, he would know exactly where to go. It wouldn't
Absolutely.
be, yeah, I take the same route home from work. I do this, he'll know exactly where I'm at without even bugging the phone, doing all those things. But we check in out of respect. Out of respect, you do that. And the husbands do the same thing. My husband and I said this the other day, and Sir Hale, I'm glad you're here. I said this the other day, that my husband and I may be a bit dysfunctional. I'm saying that because we do so many things together. When I tell people about it, they be like, really? And I'm like, yeah, is that weird? And they be like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. Because
Wait, what are some of these things?
everything. We don't go on independent vacations.
Yes.
If he golfs, I'll go golfing with him. If I exercise, he go exercising with me. He'll go shopping with me. In the beginning of our relationship, he used to go to the hairdresser with me if I wanted him to. It was just crazy. It was weird. We were just getting to know each other. He doesn't go to the hairdresser anymore, but I'm just saying, I don't bother him, or it doesn't bother him that I want to hang out with him. And it doesn't bother me for me to do it with him also. I'm like learning something. It's like every business, it's weird because every business he ever opened, he has taught me how to do every facet of that business, even towing cars. So yeah, whatever it is, he's there. He's like, and he's always addressed me. And initially in the beginning, he came with this: you are my best friend. You're going to be the person that knows me better than anybody. You're going to know what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling. My wife is that person. And he's
Mm-hmm.
treated me that way throughout the 26 years. So when I share that, people are like, are you serious? I say, yeah. I said, if there's a problem, he'll go upstairs. I'll go downstairs. I'll go in another room or something. I said, we don't really get on each other's nerves. We have silent moments where we can be in a room and we don't even say anything.
Talk about it.
It's just no big deal. We just do it. And I just think now I'm beginning to think it's like dysfunctional, but for the longest I was just like, well, we just kind of like one and we just good. It's just okay. No big deal.
Well, there's a Patrice O'Neill. I don't know if you know who Patrice O'Neill is. He's a comedian. He
Okay.
passed away, but he was hilarious. But my husband introduced me to Patrice O'Neill, and he has this. I'm gonna butcher it, but he has this statement that he says, a part of his bit that he says, guys like to feel like guys like to feel like we have someone there, but like it's okay for you to just sit there. Like we don't have
Yeah.
to hear you.
That's right. I agree with that. We don't have to say anything. Now, don't get me wrong. We have friends. We might go if somebody invites us to a party, we'll go to a party.
Yeah.
It's not like we're exiled from the world. I'm just saying you know how people always say don't husbands don't like their wives to be around them because it's clingy or things of that nature. I don't think
Mhm.
my husband would ever say anything like that because we are like always around each other. And it's just vice versa. It's just no big deal. That's why I sometimes just wonder, what is going wrong? Why is it such a big deal not to have that with your spouse? Where do we go wrong? And the only thing I can think of is that I was just so willing in the beginning to become a good wife, that I kind of I put in the work, not knowing back then I was putting in the work, but now
Mhm.
I realize I must have put in the work to get over those obstacles that would keep me from being the way that we are now in relationship.
I absolutely agree. A lot of it too, like for me, in my particular situation with my husband, we had premarital counseling. And I think that was super beneficial for us because one, it was with the church, it was with our pastor. He also happened to be a counselor. He's like all of the certifications, but he he was there to guide us and help us through the essentially what marriage would look like, right? And it's not to say that I like to say he equipped us with the tools that that we are going to go through, like the life situations that we're going to go through, but it's like boot camp, right? My husband refers to premarital counseling as boot camp. You don't know until you're actually there in the trenches and going through it, how you're going to behave, how you're going to act. But if you have these tools early, you can be like, okay, remember this,
Mm-hmm.
pull out the tools. We have the tool belt. We can now address the situation without, completely ruining our marriage or
Right.
completely having or stepping away, because I feel like a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
they get into these arguments, right? And then the argument builds and builds and builds and things don't get said or whatever. And then 2 years from now, you hear that they got divorced.
Right.
And I'm like, but it was about the trash. So
So you listen, what is this idea that separation is going to make it better? I happen to think that we can just change our own behavior. Why can't, if as adults and we see that we're arguing and fussing about the trash, why can't one of us just stop? Or why can't both of us just stop? Why
Mhm.
why does it have to be, oh God, all we do is argue. We're gonna separate for a couple of months and see can we, think about it and see can we put it back together and then hopefully we can put this thing back together. Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense to me. You don't put that has an appearance of something very sinful to me. I have no
Mhm.
idea why you would do it. So I just, I'm no therapist. You know that I'm no counselor. I'm just the things that I have gone through in my marriage, and we've gone through some things. So don't think that it's been, this is me now examining the life. I can
Mhm.
tell you what things happen, but when I hear certain things, it kind of blows my mind. I'm like, that's not the answer. I don't know who told y'all to do that. One more thing I'm gonna tell you, and I might have said this last time, from our pastor.
Mhm.
He said the only reason marriages break up, and I need you to hear this because I know people have a lot of reasonings, a lot of excuses, a lot of things that happen, and I agree with all those things. But the main reason why marriages break up is because one or the other is selfish.
Ooh.
Bottom line.
All right. She just dropped that bomb really quickly. Oh, we're going to talk about that. But thank you so much, Sir Hale Speaks, for the $20 19.99. Really appreciate it so much. I really appreciate it. Oh, we got the claps in the background. I forget. Thank you guys so much for the super chats, and all the chats that are coming in.
Thank you, Sophia.
We really appreciate it. Trying to do these things at the same time. But I want to talk about this selfishness, because I think that's one of the underlying issues of why people are going their own way after, X amount of years. I'll give you an example. My mother and father, as I mentioned in the previous chat that we had, there was infidelity, right? There was infidelity in our family. But my mom never left. And I thought about that for so long, right? I thought about that for years as like a young woman in my 20s. Why wouldn't she leave, right? Like why would she stay in this relationship knowing that this happened on multiple occasions? It wasn't just one occasion, right?
Yeah.
And then and then as I continue to get older and just like I kind of like grapple with this even more. And this might be off the cuff. People might not agree with this at all. But like once you get to a certain age, why would you leave? Like I read about this story of this woman who was 46 or in her late 40s, early 50s, and her marriage was going absolutely amazing, like textbook perfect marriage, supposedly what she said, right? Yet she broke it off, and then a couple months later, she was like, "I want my husband back." And he was not trying to get back. He was like, "I'm done with this. Like, you wanted to end the marriage. We got the divorce. Now you got to live with the consequences." And then she was like, "But I want my husband back." And I'm sitting here, I'm like, at what, like, you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, why would I leave this situation? Right? Like to me, I think about that all the time. Like if my husband and I are like 50, 60, 70 years old, do you think I'm just like, I'm going to be like, okay, I had my fun.
I'm out.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with you. But let me say this. It is going, the bottom line is, it's whatever reasoning that she gave, at some point in time, she decided to put herself first.
Exactly.
And she decided that she wanted something different or whatever. And she said to herself, I'm separating. That was just her, making a statement. She became selfish at that moment. Then after she got over her emotions or over her whatever, being unhappy or whatever the situation was, then she decided, you know what? I need my husband back, because then she decided to weigh the options. I have more good than I do bad. But going back to what you were saying about being older and being married a long time, it would have to be it would have to be something pretty devastating in order for me to make me ever think about divorcing my husband. It would have to be bigger than me.
I agree. I agree. And that's something that we don't even talk about we don't even bring up divorce in our marriage. That's like the unspoken word. We call it it's the D word. We don't even like bring it up.
We don't talk about it. No, we don't talk about it at all. But it would really have to be something like, and I'm gonna give you an example of something you read in the newspaper. A quiet man all of a sudden became the serial killer.
Yeah. Like if we're doing something like that, like
I'm just saying, I don't want to put that on my husband. I'm just saying something of that nature would be the only reason I would actually run out on him. And then you know what? I bet you anything, if somebody told me that, I probably would argue and fight with them until I actually found evidence of it myself.
Right?
Not my man. No. So he would have to prove that to me, because I just wouldn't believe it. After so many years, I wouldn't think you really become. I'm going to continue to say one with an individual and things are okay. Happiness is always an emotion and always fleeing. Sometimes you feel good and sometimes you don't. So you shouldn't look for that, but you should look for me. You should always be consistent and always like your husband or
Mhm.
your wife. Always like and always laughing at something, even if you got to pick at my hair and stuff like that, which mine does, stuff like that. It's still funny, you have to keep some kind of humor, or keep it light. Sometimes it can't always be heavy. It
I
just
agree.
can't be
I
heavy.
agree. Something that my husband and I do, you know, he says when I'm acting out, because that's what he says. Because I'm usually the one acting out. My husband is very composed all the time. It At a certain point, it was so frustrating at the beginning of our relationship because I'm like, why is he always so composed? And I'm a hot mess. But he, we joke about it because when I'm acting out, he says, okay, like you're having Tourette's, like you need to like bring it back and like calm it down or go take a shower, go do whatever. And he makes me laugh about it or he like imitates me how
Yep.
I'm behaving in
Mhm.
that situation and you just gotta laugh, you know what I mean? Like, you just gotta laugh at it. You can't at that point, you can't take it seriously, and I think that a lot of relationships are missing that component, right? People are get so hurt by these consistent things that happen, but then there's nothing like they can't bring the humor out of themselves. They can't laugh at themselves anymore. I feel like people are so serious these days and I'm like, y'all need to laugh. Like it's not that serious. Like taking out the trash, the socks on the floor, like we make it a joke in our house because it is. Why would you break up a good marriage over something so small and minuscule as the things that he does. I look at my husband and I tell him, I'm like, those are signs that you love me. Like the socks that I see, the shoes, I was like, those are your signs, your little gifts of love all over.
You're exactly right. But you know what? If we really were to get down to it, the reason why people probably divorce is probably not a reason. It's just frustration. And I think a lot of times it's because we allow life to happen to us. Sometimes we have kids too close together or too many. Sometimes people lose their job and they just don't have the faith that they need to get to go through the situation, which actually makes you better. So
Absolutely.
they don't get that though. They don't have that. They don't seek that counseling that you said. Maybe they don't have that foundation that you're talking about because the foundation is very much required because you have to have something to lean on outside of your own energy. You need a higher.
Mhm.
So that I think is the most important thing. They don't have a foundation. So anything happens, it just starts to break down. They don't know what to do. And if you talk to them, you be like, really, what's going on? He just did this, he did that. Okay. They can't even laugh at themselves. Everything is so stressful, and then women are working, they're not in their femininity. So they're not able to come home, they're not able to make a good place for their husbands. They probably don't want to put on perfume or lingerie or cook a good meal because they're just not feeling like that because they had to be at work all day and they ain't making a lot of money. So it's just complaint, complaint, complaint. And then they're bringing it home and the husband don't want to hear it. So it's just nothing good about it. And instead of them saying what or looking at see what's really going on, they're blaming each other.
Mhm. It's that
Mhm.
constant, "Oh, it's not my fault, it's their fault." Because you like, how you paint your picture and your narrative is that you are the hero in your relation or you are the hero of your story, right? Like, you're not going to admit blame for something
Right.
when you're
He
telling
did it
other
to me.
people.
So you're straight victim is what you're saying.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But I think it's being able to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, "Okay, it's that humble pie that you have to eat." Oh, and trust me, security boss, the first couple bites of that humble pie at the beginning, I think this happens for a lot of women as well. There's so many memes out there that say like, "This is what happens when a woman admits that she's wrong," right? There's like the heads explode,
And they have
the
no good girlfriends to tell them.
right?
The
Right.
girlfriends are like, that happened in my house too. You know,
Right?
they promote it instead of saying, y'all, this really is not a reason to break up a home. Come on, get it together. It's just not a reason. You know what? I would almost, I would rather someone have an affair than argue and be upset about what's going on in the house as far as emptying the trash and just not being compatible. Because that's nothing. You're saying nothing. Relax. But it's hard. I know when you're inside of something, you obviously can't see what's going on, and I get that. And I've said this before: you don't have good girlfriends. You don't. You're good.
Okay.
You
Preach
don't.
about that for a little bit. Preach about
I
that.
may not be a good one to preach about because I haven't had good fortune with girlfriends. I don't even believe in them, and I'm sorry, ladies. I would love to have a good girlfriend, but I think that as long as we're thinking alike, I can be your good girlfriend. But the moment that I don't like what you're saying, I'm not going to say don't like. I don't agree with what you're saying, and I have an opposing argument. I then became a slight problem.
Mhm.
I'm a problem now. She's not really, I don't know what she's on. She's on something different. And that is the case. And I'm probably am on something different. So I'm owning all of that. Dysfunction, something different. I'm owning it. I got it. I'm wearing it, but it's working for me. And hopefully, and I pray for humbleness because I see, and I know you shouldn't probably pray for that, but I see people. Listen, young lady said, Knobs Inc. Plus says girlfriends are needed. Ha ha. I cannot agree with you on that. I think I think women of God are needed. She don't have to be my girlfriend. I just need a voice of wisdom. So I'm gonna leave that right there. I just need a voice of wisdom. She does not have to be my girlfriend. That's
That
all.
that is very true. That is very true. And something that I don't know if we brought this up in the last chat that we had, but I don't for my particular relation my marriage, and I'm assuming yours as well, you don't bring any outside influences into the marriage, especially when there is some sort of turmoil, right? Or there is some situation happening because you're not gonna. I mean, I brag about my husband all the time, but like, you're going to these people, you're going to your friends, you're going to these groups, not to talk about the good things about your spouse. You're going there to talk crap.
You're gonna have a male bashing session, is what you're gonna do.
100%.
That's what women do at the women's group meetings. They have male bashing. Nobody is calling anybody out, and it's just, it's not. It is what it is. You drink your tea and you eat your crumpets and you're good because nobody is winning. I mean, you're still gonna leave with the same. Okay, I can consider it a venting session. Ain't nothing wrong with
Mhm.
that. I guess we all need to vent. I guess. Because that's what it is. I mean, it's so, you know what, one time, because I have gone to those. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I tried to seek women's groups out far as within the church.
Mhm.
And they do get together and they do have male bashing sessions. This is not a lie, men. They do. We talk about y'all. We talk about everything you do. And more than likely, nobody is saying, I mean, it's really just a venting session. None of us are leaving. None of us are contemplating divorce. The men really are not doing anything wrong. It's just that they're not doing what we want them to do. And we just want to come and tell somebody about it. That's really the extent of it. So if that's what women, I mean, if they need that, I don't guess there's anything really, really wrong because they're not going anywhere. I mean,
Mhm.
these are Christian women. They follow Christ. They know their commitments. They know their covenant. They know all of that. They just want somebody to listen to them because, the husband will not hear all that junk that we bring to the table. So, in that aspect, I guess it's okay. But when it really gets, when people have real issues, when they start being disrespectful to their husbands and things like that, we can't let that go.
Yeah. Samantha says, we say we want loyalty from our men, but spend hours bad mouthing them behind their back. That is true.
Samantha, it's behind their back. They never will know. Okay. It's okay. Okay, Samantha, this is what women do. We still love them.
Noobs Inc. Plus says, security boss, a lot of people don't know how to have conversation. I think it's healthy, but I understand where you're coming from.
Noobs,
Yeah.
I just told you, we can go to the church meetings with the ladies and we can talk behind their backs. It's okay, but we know you ain't going nowhere. But I definitely agree that we should have those outlets. But I'm just kidding with you all. If there's something serious that's going on and you really are contemplating leaving your husband, or if there's something really big inside your marriage, you need to have a counselor. You need to definitely
Yes.
talk to your pastor or a counselor to get that fixed. But I would think both of you all need to go together. But if it's something within you, you have to seek that out, because you have to be whole in your marriage and with your husband in order to be a good wife and mother. So I definitely think that, and I'm just saying to you, I don't think those little girlfriend meetings are going to be the one that makes you whole. I just don't think it's going to be the one. You need
She said that.
certified counselor. Now I might go get that degree, but right now I don't have it. I just think that the girlfriend group is not going to make you whole. My opinion.
I like what Real Finn Sapien said. She says, right, I just want to complain without hearing leave him. Because that's what ends up happening.
No, we never tell anybody to leave.
No,
Really?
but that's,
Ooh.
have you never
End up leaving? Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we don't say that, but I'm saying other women say that to other women and say, oh, it's fine, just leave. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, I've heard people say that. I've heard people actually give that as solution. Why don't you just divorce them? I've heard that, or even in your scenario that you gave earlier. Why are you checking in with your husband? That's a real one. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard that
Absolutely.
before.
It's, it's the negative. And that's where, in my, like, you have to have a level of discernment, right? Like you said, feelings are absolutely fickle. I could be I could be on a high right now, and 2 minutes later, especially when I'm pregnant, I could be like in the bathroom crying, right? So I can't rely on my feelings. My feelings will lie to me every single time. I have to trust in the things that I know, right?
Yeah.
We have to go back to what we know, what we um the fundamentals, or the foundational work that we've already developed. Okay, I'm having a bad day. That's all that this is.
All it is.
We are having a bad day. That's all this is. When my husband and I first got together, and I'm very transparent here, because I saw infidelity in my family. One of my biggest traumas, or some of the things that I had to work through, was this idea that my husband would leave me, right? That was something that I struggled with a lot.
Yep.
And I thought every single argument that we had was one step closer to him ending it. So I would prompt the conversation, because I was like, I need to get ahead of this, right? This was my unhealthy thinking.
Right. No, I agree with you.
And but this is what I'm saying, is like, we concoct these things, and I say concoct.
Yeah.
We concoct these things in our minds, right? And then we start believing our own lies, with the narrative that we're telling ourselves, right? We begin to believe them, and then they become reality. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, speak life into your relationship, speak life into your marriage. Don't speak these atrocities, or don't speak about divorce every single time, because eventually you will get to that point, because you created the narrative and you started believing the narrative. So it's like, oh, my husband is messaging, it's like, from one little thing, it's like, why is he on the phone like that at 10 o'clock at night, right? And then it's like, oh, my brain just, it's a woman over there, and and meanwhile he's just like answering an email. So
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime they do something different, well, anytime you do something that was not consistent with what you normally, what you doing, you know, you asking those questions. But listen, this is what was funny though. When I used to go to the women's group, um, I used to come home and I said, baby, I just love you.
Right.
I used to say it all the time. And he was like, oh God, what were they talking about? He used to always know. He said, oh God, who talked today? And I used to say, I just love you. I used to say it all the time. And we would laugh because I was like, you know what? Whew, you just don't even compare. Let me
I
go do
know.
this. It's just, because you hear some things and you be like, and I'm complaining about my husband. Oh my.
Right.
So let me just fix that. No, I love you, dear. And eventually you grow up, you become more mature, you become wiser, and you realize your position in
Mhm.
the relationship, and you realize you got a good guy. You just keep working it
Absolutely.
out. You just kind of grow together and grow up.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ari Mo, for the 9.99. Ladies, please don't vent to your husbands, to unwise women slash friends. Speaking from firsthand experiences, your friends will use that against you and can try to insert themselves into your marriage. That is 100% correct. I've seen.
I've told y'all about those friends, the girlfriends. I'm just not an advocate of girlfriends. I've had some I want to say, in my growing up, I would say out of maybe 8 girlfriends, 5 of them tried to take my boyfriend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, throughout your dating, yeah, at least 5, yeah. So I'm just girlfriends. I don't know, and then they would like, don't worry about it. They would talk to you like they've doing something, like they've done something. I'm thinking, really? Like, whatever. It's just a real thing. But when I say that, they talk just like Noob said, no, girlfriend. I mean, it may just be my experience, but I don't know why God put all the wrong women in my area. In my area, gave everybody else some good ones, but in my area, they have just not worked out. I saw right through them. I did. I'm
I
glad I did.
I
So
know Scott Clark says women don't have friends, they have rivals.
I that is so true. But
That
some
is
women don't see it like that. They're just so I think we're so innocent and naive sometimes that we just don't see it that way. But I promise you, it could be that way, especially if you got a good thing.
mm,
Mhm.
mhm. Okay, I wanna jump into another topic,
Okay.
something that you've talked about on your channel, but I really want you to speak about it here,
Okay.
is, what are some deal breakers
Ah.
in
Um,
marriage?
I joke with that. Did you catch what I did with that? Because
Yeah.
everybody comes in with these deal breakers, but to let everybody know, security boss, there are no deal breakers in marriage. But I did name the one thing. If we find out that the serial killer,
Yeah, the serial killer.
we got to go. But of course, no. But when I said that is because when my husband and I first got together, I'm 25, him 30. We wrote out a list of things that could not happen within our marriage, or they were deal breakers. That's why I did that. One thing was sexual immorality. That was one of the reasons, the only reason that you should be let out of a marriage anyway,
Mhm.
is for that reason. So that was one. And one of the other is never allow a third party, woman or man, into the relationship.
Didn't we just speak about
Yeah, that
that?
was a deal breaker for us way back then. Who even knew? But I don't really believe that there are things that's deal breaker. But when you're young and you're immature and you're coming from, like you said, bad relationships, for me, for him, ex-wives, you tend to want to recall or remember, those things that happen, and you don't want those things to happen again. So you say, that's what's fresh in your mind. So you say, okay, you do this, you're out of here. You do
Mm,
this, we're done. So you say all those things to try to cover the idea that, you know, I'm not going for that because it happened once before and this and this. But the reality of it, there are no deal breakers in marriage, and you learn it along the way. But the respect of the marriage is what gets you beyond that. Now, listen, I'm not saying a man is perfect. I'm not saying a woman is perfect, and I do think things happen. But I was fortunate that we built our relationship on certain principles where if my husband sees the appearance of sin, he flees. He don't go to the next location. You know, the woman call you on the phone and say, "Hi, how you doing? Can you meet me at the restaurant?" He don't go to the next location. He ends the call and we say good night. You know, some men go to the next location. They'll eat the food, drink the coffee, and she'll say, "Oh, you know what? I left something at my hotel room. I wanted to give it to you. You want to come up?" And then you go to the next location. You know, somewhere along the line, you have to have your, I'm just going to call it discipline.
Yes.
And be like, you know what? I believe my wife is calling me. And typically, that's at the first location, which was a phone call. So you got to be in control of your life. You can't just allow a life to happen to you if you want to keep your marriage intact. Now, again, people get weak, and if you do, you need to go in there and feel bad and get it back on track. And hopefully, your wife can forgive you for that. It may mean a year of bad luck, but hopefully that you can. I mean, but think about how much trust you lost by doing that.
I
think about that.
How I look at everything in life is with a level of foresight, right? If I do this today, how is this going to impact me a month down the road, a year down the road, 10 years down the road? And that's how I've lived my life for such a long time, especially like when it comes to social media and what I put out there and the type of content that I put out is, first of all, and now I look at it in the perspective of how is my daughter going to perceive this? Like, I'm leaving, this is my legacy, right? Like, how is she going to see this and be disappointed in me? Like, I don't want that. So having these, I like to say that these are boundaries that you establish in yourself. Again, a level of discipline, discernment, going through that in your mind, going through that, even just saying it. I talk to my phone all the time. I have voice notes on my phone all the time. Right? Or it's just like how I'm going to respond to this particular situation, and even just my comings and goings, right? How is this going to affect me? And not only that, but now it's how is this going to affect my family? Right? And so I think that I wish and I hope and I pray that more people start viewing life in that manner of having a little bit more foresight instead of thinking like this in the flesh. Oh, I'm going to get this right now, and this is going to feel good for right now, and I'll just deal with future Rebecca or future security boss or future whoever, right?
Well, no, it's not like that, Rebecca. Let's don't make it that obvious. There are so many ways now that the enemy, we're going to just call it the enemy, can slide in that you not even see it coming. I mean, so many ways. You mentioned social media. I'm thinking like a train ride. You know, the fast train in towns and cities. You know, this thing. I mean, just the subways, all that. It's just such an easy. I mean, and I'm telling you, where you may be, because you're that person that talks to yourself. I mean, I'm thinking of a great escape out of a movie theater. I'm thinking, okay, they go exit door. Okay, there's another edge. Something jump off. I'm going. That's me.
But you too. That's me too. When I lived in New York, I get on the subway and first of all, I look at everyone.
Yep.
And then I'm like, oh, bad vibes coming from that direction over there. I'm gonna make it to the next thing. And then, but I always have like an exit strategy going on at all times, or like I just play out different scenarios, good or bad, right? But having that, I think, is important. I think too many people are going through life like, huh.
Well, let me say this. You're saying that they're just living life, but I'm telling you, men don't think that way, because I'm going to give you a scenario and you're going to be like, oh, that did happen. Oh, that could. So I do the same thing you do. I'm always looking for a way out. of whatever situation. I always, I'm thinking if somebody comes through the front door with a gun, what I'm going to do. I'm always thinking like that. But how about we're at church? My husband's a big guy, so he always like to sit at the end. So one of the nice ushers, she sees us. She sees, oh God, you got some nice shoes on. And then she just rubs his back as she goes by. I'm talking about one of them church rubs, And I'm looking.
Oh, snap.
Because remember, she said, oh, I like your shoes. Oh, I like your shoes. And one of them church hugs, one of them church rubs, I'm like, there was some energy transferred from that little, slide of the hand along the back. I need to check in with my husband. What did she want? What she say, husband? She said she liked my shoes. Okay. Yeah, yo. Did you tell her your wife bought those shoes for you? That got me started crazy. But I'm talking about that subtle because remember, we go to church every Sunday, so I got time to work this out. It's a slide today. Next week, I might really like the suit he have on. So, this is really true. This is a transfer of energy. Because in a minute, she gonna keep talking, and then he gonna now start paying her attention and be like, hey, where he never paid her, never even thought about her being a greeter prior, right? And then, now he's saying hello, and now she's smiling, showing teeth. Innocent. Then, it's just, I'm just telling you, it's just not as always as obvious. But, I would say husbands always check in with wives. Wives always pay attention. You don't want to be clocker or anything, but you need to let your husband know that women, these things do happen. Even with social media, in the past, we've had people, old friends come out and they would, like have a dramatic weight loss or something. And they would put on there, send us a hat, bathing suit. Look at me, I lost weight. And I'm thinking, what? Yeah, you did, but was this the most appropriate thing to send through social media? And I'm thinking, okay, So I'm just saying for men, women, we have it a bit easier because a lot of us are on, pay a lot of attention to everything, but men don't. And they can easily, maybe fall into a situation that they feel is innocent and it could turn into something real quick.
Especially, and I wanted to bring up this point, especially if your spouse isn't being an active participant in your marriage. So let's say, you say that there's no deal breakers, right?
Right.
But, you've seen situations where, or you might have encountered situations where, you could see one person actively participating in the marriage and the other person just sitting back.
Being lazy.
So what do you have? Do you have any advice or do you have any thoughts around that? Because I know that complacency can kill a marriage. And that's where that's where the church rubs become the late night rubs.
Yeah. Your husband started doing things different. What is you doing? But let me say this. I don't do this. I've never done this, but I think this is a very good deal. I don't know how I didn't do it or how we got through it or what have you, but those regular check-ins are important. Talk to your husband or your wife. You good? Show some interest, pay attention. You got to put some effort in. This thing is just not going to stay hot if you're not turning on the stove. You got to blow on the flame or something. You got to blow on the flame. You got to do something. It's just not going to simmer if you don't do something. So you got to do something, men or woman. You got to do something. We just got to do something. We just can't let it just go. So check in. Honey, how are you? Whatever. Or if you're at the store, like the other day, my husband made, how can I say this? He was wrong, but I bought him cologne. Does that make sense? He was wrong, but I bought him cologne. And he was like, why'd you buy me this? I said, because you were wrong. Okay. Smell it. I'm serious. It's happened. I said, because you was wrong, but it's okay. It's okay. Because with my husband, I might have told you this the last time. My husband don't do the apology thing. He just he like to do activities to make it right. You know,
Okay.
he lets me know everything is good, but he don't like to come back and say, babe, I apologize. He don't, he's not gonna do that. So I did it for him. I said, you were wrong. So here's the cologne. And he just looked at, like
but see, so, that's you learning your husband, and that's how he is.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I tell people too. I go, there's a lot of people talking about generalities all over social media and YouTube, but you have to work. Like, if you are going to get married, if you're going to have oneness, you're going to be one. Like, there, it comes with all of it. It comes with all of it.
There's no way it can't happen if you're putting in the effort to do it. And this is both people. We have to have that mutual agreement, though, in the beginning, that this is what we're going to do. And I just don't think people take marriage that serious. I think that either we're doing it for a reason, maybe there are kids or maybe some kind of obligation. But even with that, I think we need to sit back and say, okay, even though I feel obligated or a duty, I got to make it my best. I got to put forth the best effort because this is where I'm at and I want to be good. Why not that? Why that can't be the solution? Why is it always, talk about marriage and divorce in the same sentence? So I got to protect my money.
I literally wrote that down. I'm like, why is that? It's like they talk about how to protect a marriage prenup, how to protect a marriage, all these things. How to protect a marriage.
Like, do the work. How much to get fired from a job? No cutting corners. Do the work.
That's something that really grinds my gears when it comes to a lot of these conversations, is like the marriage and divorce are literally
same conversation.
Same conversation.
It's actually one is the reason for not doing the other.
Exactly.
And that's like, well, wait a minute, why are we talking divorce and we're not even married?
You've already skipped to that part.
We divorced now. So I was like, listen, if it's for real, the prenup is not going to protect that broken heart. This is a real thing. You know what? And the other thing too, how do you get a promotion on a job? You go there, you do what you're supposed to do and beyond. So why won't you do that in your marriage? Go here and beyond. Listen, I gave a scenario of how sports fanatics, they love their athlete, they love Michael Jordan, LeBron, or whoever they love, and they know everything about them. I mean, they could tell you that Michael Jordan's highest scoring game was back in 1986, and he scored 64 points, and he had 5 assists or whatever. They can tell you everything. They can read it down. Why would you not put that same amount of energy into your wife? You know nothing about Michael Jordan, but he's a rich man, very rich man. But why would you not to your wife or your husband? Why wouldn't you not?
Exactly.
Wouldn't you get a whole lot more out of it?
Absolutely. And that's the thing that kind of boggles my mind when I think about this. I think it's because generationally we've just become more selfish, right? We talked about this selfishness. Oh, what can I get from this relationship? How is it going to benefit me? You see a lot of the conversations being had this way. And so I tell people, I go, well, if you're starting off from this premise, you are not going to have a happy, healthy marriage because you are starting from a place of lack already, right? You're starting from a place of, people start in a place of fear. And this is where I talk about, men and women that are not, they don't want to deal with each other, right? And it's the hurt from other people that they're carrying onto themselves. I go, it didn't even affect you. And you are sitting here carrying someone else's baggage and weight as if it was your own. And you're walking through life as if these things happen to you. It like the more because I call myself an observationalist, the more I observe these faces, right? I ask these questions because it makes no sense to me, right? It makes no sense to me. You're going to operate off of someone else's fear, then fine. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get that result because that's what you spoke on yourself and spoke on your life. So there's not much I can do there.
There's nothing you can do there. You have to put into your marriage what you expect to get out.
All
And that's just how
right.
it goes. And if you're not willing to do that, then you probably need to plan for the divorce. If you know you lack that type of discipline going in, or you know that you're not serious about the covenant that you've made, or if you don't even know what the covenant is, then you probably don't need to be married.
All right.
I mean, it's kind of simple, but if you want to listen, you can live hard or you can live easy. I just chose to live easy. And we can't always just be wrong. Somewhere along the line, we need to get it right. And I think it's what you're saying. It's the selfishness. I mean, he made it so simple. And no matter how we slice it, no matter how many scenarios we give, no how many wrongs or excuses, it still goes into, I got tired of dealing with you. So now I'm moving on. And that's selfish. So,
Yeah, however you slice that cake, that's literally
that's it. How simple it is. They just make things very simple, and we complicate things all the time.
Oh, 100%. We complicate things all the time, but that's human nature, I feel, is that and I say this, God gave us the playbook for marriage. Yet we're sitting here trying to hack the playbook and it's not working out for us in our favor.
You don't like to consult the playbook because you know what it says. They don't want to consult the playbook because the playbook says suck it up, get over it, and work at it. And they prefer to do what they want to do. Again, selfishness.
And I think honestly, like, that's where I really wanted to land here, because I really want people to understand in order to have a happy, healthy marriage, my pastor says it like this: it's a death to yourself every single day.
Yep.
And it's hard for people to understand that concept, right? Mm-hmm. It's dying to myself, to my needs, to what I desire, to my happiness, to all of the things that I want and desire for my life. And it's directed at someone else. And that is very difficult for people to grapple with, because the world tells us, right? The world says, you're unhappy. Of course you got to leave. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're miserable.
The world definitely is operating on emotions, and a lot of us are very unhappy. We're very stressful. This is a very stressful time now that we're in, and it's always, I don't know, we need to relax. We really do. But you got to figure out how you can get to that point. But it's just not. I just think we keep going back to the original foundation and where we pull our energy from. And if you don't have that and you don't have that relationship, you're gonna struggle. That's your reminder. If you can't get to that reminding piece, then you will struggle. That's where I go. When I realize, I say it all the time, when I realize doing it my way isn't working, I throw up my hands in submission because I don't have the answer anymore. So,
Absolutely right. Thank you guys all for participating in the chat. You guys are amazing. Thank you, everyone who sent super chats.
It's one young man in the chat. I think he just loves me because he wants to dump me. So I know he's
Wait,
just
who is this?
I don't know who he is, but he's just loving everything that I said. I must be like just stepping all over his toes. Love her. Go get her. Love her. Write her a love letter right now.
Someone in the chat says, "Can I marry both of you?" I'm like,
oh, we don't believe in that. That's bringing too many people into the house. But listen, I just, it's just, we just have to, I just would prefer being happy with my husband, and you only have to get it right one time. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be my concentration, and that would be what I would give to anyone. Just focus on getting it right the one time, and whatever you have to do, do it, because it doesn't cost you until you end it. As long as you're fighting and going through, I promise you, you're becoming a better person. You are becoming a
Absolutely.
better person. You're becoming more wise. You can actually have life experience that you can share with someone else. As long as you're going through. But if you get to a point where you can't go through anymore and you quit, you just, you lost, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Scott says, a wedding is a party, a marriage is work. I
I
agree.
agree. I agree.
I agree. And that's the thing is like, I haven't, and you have 26
Mm-hmm.
years. I have, I'm a year and a half, okay, into marriage. We're basically newlyweds, but we walked into marriage with life already like thrown at us, like my dad
Yep.
passing this year, a baby coming, like life literally, like we went into marriage with no honeymoon. And so a lot of these conversations that a lot of these conversations um that what is he saying? Again, pregnancy brain. A lot of the conversations that we were having before marriage, right? And a lot of these things that we were doing before marriage has helped us to
Mm-hmm.
get to where we are, where we can, um, we can just live in peace. I that's the thing. It's like my husband and I we don't fight. We don't have arguments. We might bicker from time to time, but we don't let these things fester. And a lot of people are letting these things fester and grow and just become monsters. There's a verse in the Bible, and I'm going to jack it up, but it says, the little foxes like ruin something about the little foxes ruin like the situation. It's like these little things that you allow to creep in, the steal, the little foxes steal joy, something like that. I'll bring it up. I'll add it to
Yeah,
the
I'm
chat.
not familiar with that one, but I
But
get it.
it's those little things that it's those little things that you just let build up and build up and build up over time that you know that are ending these marriages. And I'm seeing it like this just happened to one of my friends,
Mm.
and I was like, there is fight in you. Like, I see the fight in you. Don't give up. Don't give up. I see the fight in your relationship. But then it's like, and I I don't know. I look at these situations, right? Like, I look at my marriage, I look at your marriage, and I also have a marriage group that I'm a part of where I see couples that have been together for 20, 30, 40 plus years. And I'm like, wow, like all of the things that we've talked about, you guys have been through and worked through, and you're still married. That's my motivation. That's how
Mhm.
we keep going, right? Because it's people like you that have been married for 26 years, right? Like,
It's a real thing, though. The social media, YouTube world, and all this social media world will tell you that we don't exist.
oh
It's a
yeah.
lot of us out there, though. It's a lot of us that are married happily. I mean, I have a whole social circle that I used to deal with. I mean, and some married longer than I. And when I say this, I mean young married. I'm talking about married 20, and we're still young. And we're
Mhm.
still been married, but we're married 20 and 30 years. So we've been married over half our lives. It's
Yeah.
a lot of us like that, but social media and the media probably would make you think that it doesn't exist. It's just not what you do anymore. It's just nothing good about it. So
Absolutely. Lou Castley, she says, Song of Solomon, take take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines. Our vines have to tender grapes. That was the one.
Thank you,
Thank
Lucas.
you.
Thank
I was
you.
like, I knew it was about the little foxes and the vines.
I'm not familiar with that. So yeah, okay.
No,
But
but that's exactly it, you know.
And I really wish we could change the narrative, but I know we probably can't because not all of us that are successfully married can spend time on social
Here.
media. Yeah, trying to do this. We're doing a lot of other things. So I get it, but I do know, and I'm glad to see that even on my channel, a lot of people who are married are coming out talking about it, how successful they are. Men, mostly men, because my channel, even though I'm in marriage, most of my channel is men. I have mostly men. I would love to have men and women, but now it's mostly men, and they're coming out talking about how they met their wives and they're in successful marriages, 10-year plus. So it is changing a little bit, but I do realize that married people are probably more about other things, and we wouldn't be able to even fight or counteract the narrative that's on social media.
Oh, 100%. And that's something that I wanted to talk about too, because so, you know, there's that amazing statistic that comes up from on all the channels. It says that I think over 60% of women are the ones that initiate divorce. I'm sure you've heard this.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. And
I don't know the percentage, but that we do it more. Yeah.
but that's where this is why I speak to women. I know, like you, mostly men show up because, you know, women just don't want to hear it. But, you know, if we have examples like you and me and other women that are out here that are showing successful marriages, and I have to be humble sometimes too. I'm still learning. I don't have all the like I don't know everything,
Right. And then
but
and then
go
too,
ahead.
you know, you have to think of it like this. Men are loyal. A man
Mhm.
won't leave you. I mean, why would he? You know, if a woman is truly trying to be a good wife, why would the husband leave? The woman would be the one that's frustrated and be like, I can't do it anymore. More, you
Exactly.
know, so she would be the one. When men are loyal, women are faithful and usually
Mhm.
committed, but they will bail out on you. They're not the loyal, they're not the most loyal. That's why I was going back to the girlfriends. They're not the most loyal, but men are. So it makes sense to say that women are the ones that are filing for the divorce more.
Exactly. And so what I want to do is help more women understand, like, and it's not to say that the power is in the woman's hands, but if the women are initiating the divorces, you as a woman have to understand that it's not going to be rainbows and butterflies and it's not about your happiness. You know what I mean? And I think that that narrative needs to be, I think we need to turn that around, because we went from Hollywood telling us that, you know, the rom-coms, then you had, well, first it was Disney, right? And then you have all of these different people saying, "Oh, like it's supposed to look like this, and if it doesn't look like this, then peace out." Right?
Well, it also goes to that even the scenario that you gave, women are negatively, we have negative emotions and we
Mhm.
act on them. So later on, when the emotions came down and she thought about it, now she wants her husband back. So I think a lot of divorces are filed with an emotional or a negative emotion, unhappiness. That's the emotion. And that's just typically, I think, the way women, that's why it's like a reaction thing. It's more reaction, as in, instead of this is what really needs to happen. I'm just reacting to something. It's not that the
Mhm.
marriage is over, but I want to drop the mic.
Mhm.
I want to have the last words. I'm going to drop the mic and I'm out of here. And then they have a moment to sit back, think about it, and they realize, oh, what did I do? There's nothing out here for me. I've been
Ex-
married 20 years. So, you know.
exactly. And that's exactly what I was saying, like the psychology aspect of it, right? Like the things that we're telling ourselves, both men and women, but I think for women um it's more detrimental to women at this point. You know what I mean? Because if we're the ones initiating the divorces, it has to come from us, and it has to be our voices that we say, listen, you got to put in the work. Like, as a woman, you have to put in the work.
It's emotional. It's a negative emotion. We're just reacting to something that's going on in the moment, as though it's going to go on forever.
Right? But
And then as soon as you get that clear head, it's like, what did I do?
But then
I,
how do we combat, like, is there I think what I want to get at, eventually is like, I'm still chewing on this. I'm still trying to, like, understand how to do this, but, like, how do we shift this narrative, especially for women, to say, listen, don't throw it all away for this little feeling that you're feeling right now.
I think they have to stay grounded in their foundation, and they have to check in. You can't just live life. You have to check in to your energy source and make sure it's telling you what's right, so you can clearly see where you are. And if that's a counselor, then let it be. But you have to constantly, a good woman is constantly checking herself. Is this ego? Is this pride? What is this energy? Where is it coming from? Why am I acting this way? Is it that time of the month? Do I need to go have something to eat? Do I need a Snicker bar? Something. I need to be balanced right now. We need to check ourselves and see if we're acting and responding correctly instead of just straight negative emotion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a super chat, condemned ya, $20. Thank you so much for the facts. And hold on, I wanted to bring this life. The Real Femme Sapien says, divorce isn't easy either. You have to start your life all over. And I think that people forget that, right? Like, I think that people don't understand because, for example, I'm going to bring up my situation with my friend. She has a child involved in it, right? And now she's learning that co-parenting isn't as easy as she thought it was going to be, right? And I said, well, let me ask you a question. Your marriage was difficult, right? Like, you had problems within your marriage. Obviously, that's why you left, right? Or that's why you guys filed for divorce. What made you think that co-parenting and divorce was going to be easy? Like, that was a question. She was like, actually, I don't know.
Never thought about it. I don't know why they think that one person is better than two. I don't know. I don't get the half circle. I want the whole thing. So, but I can tell you this, men in today's time would say that women are incentivized to divorce their husbands because of whatever monies that may be involved in that divorce. I don't agree with that, but I think
Yeah.
men often would say that there is some incentive in a woman being a divorcee.
Mhm.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It's hold on just a second. It says,
No, wait, let me say this difference. Unless it's enough money to take care of every aspect of need that I would have, every one of them, everything. I need a gardener. I need the trash man. I need everything. I need all the expenses. Otherwise, I need to keep my husband. I need everything covered.
oh,
Everything needs to be covered. And I just don't see that happening. That's ridiculous. But I have heard men say that women are incentivized to divorce for, I guess alimony, child support, whatever else they can maybe get from the spouse. Um, you know, I don't agree with that. But I just think that that's some sort of a talking point now.
wait, there's too many talking points
I
in
know. I
this.
should shut up, right? I got to.
we should shut up.
We should shut up. Yeah, I'm done. on
Uh,
that.
the,
On
the
that.
on that note, the Real Femme Sapien says, women don't post the reality of divorce out of fear of judgment. My first thought was with divorce was, sadly, what will people say about me, which is selfish. I mean, it's true. That's a reality. That's a reality. But Security
So
boss?
what she's saying is we made a selfish decision and now we got to live in selfishness in order to live. So that's about what, 5 years of turmoil?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that's, I mean, let's think about it. When think about the first thing you think about when you're like, oh, my business failed, or, I'm getting a divorce, is what will people say? What will
Mm.
people think about me? It's not, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that we even,
Judge such things, yeah. It's
that
it's
that's how we go. That's how we
it's
operate.
a divorce is like a death. I don't know how that's a good thing. I don't even know how we sign up for that. Let it be real. A real death is enough. Why would you sign up for something that you don't have to? But I get
Abs-
it. We get selfish and we lose our way. And then there are some big deals out there. We got the serial killer out there. So, but I don't know anything short. Oh no. When somebody in your chat said my wife wouldn't even believe I was a serial killer, she still wouldn't leave me. I like that. I was like, that's good. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Guys,
Look, he'll be in prison. I'm writing letters. Hey, honey,
I know, right?
did you eat today? It's crazy. Who is this crazy lady? So I'm just, it's not a good state. I hate that the world is recommending something like that, but anything that is good, then you're going to have your opposite. And that's going to be what a lot of people choose to do.
Absolutely. Um, we hit an hour and a half.
So Miles, I think he's talking about me. What do I care so much about what other people do? Um, Miles, the only reason why I care is because there could be, you could be good, you could be successful. I think we go through too much stress here in this world. And if I can help someone that wants it now, only those individuals who wants it, and I could be that voice that they hear that they never heard before, and it just something clicks. That's who I am, and I feel like that's what I'm here to do. That's my purpose, and that's
Mhm.
that's the only reason. But thank you for kind of asking.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Um, we hit an hour and a half. I Girl, my brain is not.
This is your show. Whatever you like, I am good with it.
I love our conversations. We have to you're coming back again and again and again. And I would love to come on your
I
show.
was getting ready to say, why don't you come over to my world
Yeah,
and see what
because
goes on crazy over there?
you got this thing more figured out than I do. I'm not the live. I'm struggle bus on lives, okay? So I apologize to everyone if I missed your comment or your super chat. Thank you so much. Please like the video. See, this is why I don't do lives, because I forget to tell people to like the video.
Listen. Okay. Now, are you wanting to end or do you want to bring up a couple of questions? Or how do you want to do this
No,
last?
we're gonna end it here because
Okay.
I I want to come on your show
Okay.
and I want you to come back, and we have so much more of this conversation to have. But my little girl is kicking me right now to get off. But I love you on this channel. You
Thank
bring so
you.
much knowledge, and I love your perspective. You come from a place of love, and that's why, like, I think not only your channel is going to blow up,
Oh, thank
but
you.
this is why people want to hear from you, because you tell it like it is, right?
Right. I try.
Condemned just says part 3 coming. Oh yeah, part 3, part 4, part 5.
Yep.
but but I think that's why everyone wants to hear your unsolicited advice.
That's what it is. Definitely. Definitely. And y'all got to come to my channel and subscribe.
Yes.
Security Boss Unsolicited. I am the person, you didn't ask for it, but I'm willing to give it to you. And again, it's only because I care. I really do care about people. So. But I don't want
Yes.
to be pushy though. I have been called pushy in my time. And I don't want
What?
to be, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I have been.
No.
Yeah. Ha ha. The older I get, the wiser I get too.
Exactly.
Sometimes it just falls out, and you just like, oh, did I say that? So I'm getting better too. So we're helping each other. I'm telling you, really, definitely.
Absolutely. Do you have any final words for the audience, or do you want to leave any more nuggets with the audience?
Well, the only thing I want to say is, listen, I appreciate you. I appreciate your people that come, your panel. It just gives me a breath of fresh air because I do talk to some of the same people all the time. And I love them too, but I would love to have a challenge. I like people to challenge me and say things so I can give them a different perspective because my people just accept me. They just like, okay. But if I have someone to challenge me, it helps me think, it helps me grow. And then just yourself, we live in two different places, two different worlds. So even though what you bring to the table helps me because it may be something I never even thought about. So I definitely appreciate you for everything you've done. Inviting me to your channel, and I'm definitely going to have you on my channel. We've already talked about it. We just don't know when the baby's going to get here.
She's
And
approaching soon.
yeah, see, we didn't want to put too much pressure on you, and we understood that. So again, I just want to say that, and thank you guys. Make sure you come over and subscribe to Unsolicited Security Boss Unsolicited, and I would definitely appreciate that. And congratulations on the little girl.
Thank
We're gonna hope
you.
she's gonna be a big one, like 8'6".
Oh, don't say that. I gotta push her out.
It's okay. She has no other way to go.
Yeah, that is true.
Maybe so.
No, but everyone, go as soon as this live ends. Go go subscribe to Security Boss. I will link all her stuff down below, social medias, all that stuff. So don't worry, you're going to have a place to find her. All the links will be there. And thank you again, guys. Before you leave or on the way out, like the video. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for all the amazing comments and for everyone being here. I really appreciate it. You could be anywhere else on a
On
Friday
Friday
night
night.
at the bar.
At the bar, you're right.
But you're here and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, Security Boss. Thank you so much again. And we have to do this. The next time I'm just gonna have her here.
There you go. There you go. We have to outline your journey though. Nobody's done that I know of. I think that's going to be good because you're going to have the baby brain and then you're going to be sleepless or sleep deprived. And hey, that's going to be an outstanding show and still got to be the wife.
Yeah, and still got to be the wife. I'm gonna have. I bought a baby carrier, so I just feel like it's gonna constantly, like the baby's constantly gonna be in this carrier, like me, so that I can have my hands free because I just know how I am.
And you're going to bring so much more to the YouTube because now you're going to be living it and you can be telling individuals right now, this is what I'm thinking.
Exactly.
My husband should be walking through that door now.
Yeah,
where is he at? He's late.
I love it.
Looking for that timeout.
I love it. I love it. Yes, someone also said that to me the other day. They're like, "Wow, you're going to really have like a different like after and I'm definitely taking a maternity leave. Like
you're gonna have to.
I can't do this. Like
but listen, you might have to find a way to record those thoughts. I think they may be good.
Yeah, we're gonna probably do vlog style.
Okay.
We might have to do a vlog style. Let me know if you want to see the new vlogs.
Yeah, you gotta do something.
Guys, I'm having a hard time.
You're gonna have to do something because it's gonna be. I think that would be really good to hear the things that you're going through.
Absolutely, but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
My husband, we'll see how I feel when this baby actually comes. But again, Security Boss, thank you so much. We love you here. I love you here. You're the best. I can't wait to be on your show. I can't wait for you to come back for part 40 of this installment of Marriage Talks. But we will see you next time. Also, Everyone, please go subscribe to Security Boss. Go like her channel, go like her content. And I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed in the content that she has. I'm just saying.
Also, Rebecca, some of my people are over here and they also are subscribing to your channel. Y'all, thank y'all
Oh,
for doing that.
thank
Please subscribe
you.
to Rebecca's channel. Gene Steele, I love you. He's a number one of my supporters. So I'm just glad to see him.
Thank
And
you, Eugene.
Sir Hale Speaks was there. He
Yes.
was, yeah, it's been a few, and I appreciate them. They definitely support Security Boss. So I'm glad they are definitely supporting you also.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And we'll see you. I'll see you next time.
Okay. Have a good night.
Bye.